Being a type 1 from the age of 12, these were asked and said to me, "Did you get type 1 diabetes because you ate a lot of sugar? Why are you taking loads of carbs? Were you obese when you were a child? You have to compromise a lot because you're a diabetic. Did your mother feed you with loads of unhealthy junk? Ouch, I can't even inject myself once. Do not tell anyone you're a diabetic, then no one will marry you. Should you be injecting that now? Can you not take it later? You aren't taking care of your health. You have diabetes, my granny has the same. Is type 1 contagious? You're drinking too much water. You don't look like you got diabetes. Are you taking drugs? Should you be eating that? Can you become a mother? Do you have to check your blood sugar and take insulin in front of people like that? Why are you using the washroom quite often? You have sinned, that's why you have type 1 diabetes in such a young age. What did you do? Why is your blood sugar high? Can you take alcohol? Why sweetener? Are you on a diet to lose your extra fat? You're a type 1 diabetic. Can you play sports? You have loss of gums. Have you been taking tobacco a lot? Oh no, it must be really hard for your parents to manage a type 1 at home. Andarki namaskaram, this is Viji Gulaboo. So today I want to talk to you guys about diabetes, yeah? So there are loads of types of diabetes like type 1, type 2, type 4, gestational diabetes, like there are actually many. So right now I'm going to talk to you about type 1 diabetes because I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes from the age of 12. So I've been surviving with it for 22 years and I just want to say a few myths and facts about it because there are many who are not aware of it, and also I just feel that we should educate people about it so that when you are meeting a type 1, you would know how to react and how to make them feel comfortable. Also, I want to talk about diabetes is only because I want to, I want people to come out and talk about it and also share their challenges, and the more we share, the more we would realize that it's not a disability or it's something really very common and we can win over it. Okay, so the very first myth I want to clarify is we type 1 diabetes, we didn't get diabetes because we ate a lot of sugar when we were young or when we were a baby. No. And also type 1 diabetes is not caused because the child was obese. No. Type 1 diabetes is actually your own immune system destroys your beta cells from the pancreas. So it's an autoimmune disease. So beta cells helps in producing insulin, yeah. So diabetes is a chronic condition which doesn't allow your pancreas to function well. It secretes either a tiny bit of insulin or no insulin. So insulin is a very important hormone, and we type 1 diabetics, our pancreas doesn't produce insulin, so we take it manually. So what insulin does is it converts your food, like your carbohydrates and your starch, whatever you consume, it converts it into energy and sends it to the bloodstream. So if it is not controlled, the blood sugar elevates and it would lead into complications. So again, only kids do get type 1 diabetes? No. Yes, obviously I was a child and I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, but now even younger adults who are about 20, 25 do get type 1 diabetes, and they have to survive their entire life with insulin. So it is not that type 1 diabetes shouldn't eat sweets. We can eat if our blood sugars are under control, and if we can balance it, then we can have it like a small treat now and then. So being a diabetic, you shouldn't eat fruits. No, I can eat fruits. I can eat papaya, I can eat apple. There are loads of fruits which I can consume in a minimal amount. When my blood sugars are in control, I can have them. So Type 1 diabetes can have sugars, type 1 diabetics can have fruits. It's just that we should balance it well, and we should, not frequently have them. It's not that if for me I'm using an insulin pump and for me, it works. But if another type 1 person is using injection like a pen, so it doesn't mean that that person should use pump as well. So it differs. Every body type is different. So another very funny thing, actually even my maid also thought so people think that having type 1 diabetes, if you're going to sneeze or cough, or if I'm going to drink a glass of water and another person is sipping from the same cup, he or she is going to get type 1 diabetes. No, it's not like COVID-19, or it's not contagious. It's just a genetic thing where obviously if my parents didn't have diabetes, or it could be like your ancestors or your grandparents or anyone who's got it, so it's just a genetic thing. That is why I'm having type 1 diabetes. So type 1 diabetes is not contagious. Yeah. So again, there's another myth is that type 1 diabetes cannot play sports. No, we can play. It's just that we have to keep monitoring our blood sugars, because sometimes, like if you have doing strenuous activities, due to stress, our blood sugars might elevate, or it can even go low. So it's just that you have to keep monitoring your blood sugars, and then we are good to go. There are famous people. There is Wasim Akram, who's a cricketer. He's a type 1 diabetic. There's Nick Jonas, an American singer. He's a type 1 diabetic. So there are loads of athletics who are type 1 diabetes, and they are performing well. It's just that we need to keep an eye on our blood sugars. And in fact, playing sports and being really physically active is very important, being a type 1 diabetic. So having type 1 diabetes, it is not a serious condition. It is okay. You will outgrow out of it. I wish it was that easier. Having a type 1 diabetes or type 2 or any kind of diabetes, it is definitely a serious condition if it is not being controlled. It is an chronic illness, and also it wouldn't show outside. Yeah, we will not know if my blood sugars are going to be super high. I wouldn't know until it's 500 or 600. Sometimes I would know. I would feel really exhausted, or I'll feel a bit confused. So having an elevated blood sugars will lead you to liver damage. It'll lead you to heart problems, and it can cause eyesight problems. Like it will cause retinopathy, and even retinopathy is not really visible until it's really in a worse condition, like in the last stage it wouldn't be seen. So we do go for checkups every 6 months or every 3 months. We have to get our eyes checked, because it can even cause blindness if the blood sugar is not being controlled. And then another important thing is if a type 1 diabetic is having a wound or something, it has to be treated well. If it is being left, then that is why if someone gets a wound on their legs, it gets worse, because healing takes time. And if it is not being treated well, if the infection has become worse, then amputations are common in type 1 diabetes. If type 1 diabetes is not being controlled, if it is being really high, it would cause organ failures too, and going into extreme hypoglycemia or extreme elevated blood sugars will even lead to coma, and the person can even die. So some of them think that we go into hypos, or our sugars are really high, so they think that we are not taking care of our health, or we are not being very dedicated. No, it is not like that, right? It happens all of a sudden. Our blood sugars fluctuates high or low. We will never know why it's happening. It could be due to stress, or it could be because I haven't slept well, or it could be because I worked out a lot, or it could be because of exhaustion, or it could be maybe I had a different kind of food. So you'll never know. We will never know why it is happening. We will never know why it's going high or low. So do not judge when you see someone with type 1 diabetes, all of a sudden they go eat sweets. Do not judge them. Maybe, they're going into hypos. That is why they want to consume sweets. And I always do that. When I go low, I always eat my favorite sweet or chocolate, so that it's nice, isn't it? It's nice to have your favorite food. So we don't get an opportunity to eat those sweets or chocolates all day. So do not judge anyone if they're going to, if they're because going into hypos, you will not know, you cannot see it from outside. A type 1 diabetic goes into hypos very often, and again, it is normal. Fluctuations do happen, and the symptoms are, we will feel fatigue, we will start sweating, or we will feel anxious, we'll start shivering. But again, not everyone gets the same symptoms, and not always, a person sweats. So if I'm going into hypos all of a sudden, I wouldn't know, because I've been having diabetes for 22 years. So I will not know unless my sugars are going down to 50 or 40. I will not know. So having type 1 diabetes, it also causes your mood to waver. Like, it sometimes gives you anxiety, and it's kind of, you have these mood swings, and all of a sudden you will feel very exhausted. So I would really suggest, if any one of your peers, like your friends or your relatives, if anyone has got type 1 diabetes, I would advise you to understand them, and please learn about it, and do not judge them, because sometimes having a type 1 diabetes could be embarrassing as well. Attending parties, or going out and having sweets, and everyone is going to judge you. So it's really tough. So please do support them, and also please spread the word. Type 1 and type 2 is not same. So thank you again so much for watching this video. I would be making more videos about type 1 diabetes, and I want to share even my experiences of being a type 1 diabetic. It has even taught me how to be really disciplined, and being very, very grateful for small things in life.
Please be kind and empathetic towards people before you use your words, because everyone is fighting a silent battle. You may never know.